Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in day number 78 of the 100 Days of Magic, we are going to talk about Mirrodin. Mirrodin came out in October of 2003. It had 306 cards, 88 rares, 88 uncommons, 110 commons, and 20 basic lands. Now, it was obviously artifact-centric. It brought to us equipment, and it upset my wife to the point where she didn't play for a while. Anyway, let's get into it. The very first card we talk about is, I don't know if there was Antiquities had a more artifact theme, and that's about it, than Mirrodin. Antiquities had the word artifact on every single card. But anyway, Leonin Abunis here, at 4 mana, artifacts you control have hexproof. 2/5, so it's, that's a fairly high toughness. I use it still to this day. It is great in any kind of, especially the white equipment style decks. I mean, it slots right in. Rule of Law. Now, we've had the blue one, but now we've got the white one. Does the exact same thing for the same cost. 3 mana, and each player can't play more than one spell each turn. While there are many different ways to combo with this to just lock your opponents out. One of the more popular ones is that blue commander. That one is just absolutely banned. Yeah, it's the flip card from Kamigawa. We'll get there. Solar Tide. Now, this is a board wipe that you just don't see a lot. You can, if you want to entwine it, that's an expensive entwine cost. Entwine is an ability that I believe Bearden introduced, to where it provides option A and then option B, and then you can pay the entwine cost to do them both. Fabricate. I had no idea then that this would be such an amazing card. I mean, I probably should have. Every artifact they print just makes Fabricate better. And they don't reprint it as much as I would like. But it's an artifact tutor. I mean, just plain and simple. March of the Machines. Now, March of the Machines, I play defensively as much as I play offensively. Yeah, it's easy to make your big 8 and 9 casting cost artifacts get up and walk. But it's also, there are a lot of decks that are just crippled by a March of the Machine. Because this is every artifact, not just yours. Now, the funny thing about equipment is that line down there at the bottom. If you play the March of Machines, all that equipment just auto unequips and starts walking. So it really shuts down a equipment Voltron style deck. Temporal Cascade. Now check this one out. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into their library, or each player draws 7 cards. Now, for, 9 mana, it's a Time Twister. Okay. Costs 3 times as much as Time Twister. But what really has my attention with it, and I've been kind of, I say thinking about it, not really all the time, but every time the card pops up, I'm like, what if you don't entwine it? What if you just do mode 1? Each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into the library. So you are effectively mind twisting everybody at the table, including yourself. And there are ways, to where you have that second hand, or the artifact or whatever that has cards up underneath it that have a second hand in it. But you're taking away everyone's hand and graveyard, which is, might as well be your hand in most decks. Something to think about. Thoughtcast. I don't know that I've ever paid the 5 mana for a Thoughtcast. I don't know that anybody has. This set gave us I think I want to say in the standard world, this was the most bannings ever in a standard environment. And it gave us a lot of really powerful cards. Affinity for artifacts is something that they did during the Mirrodin block. They have yet to revisit. They've done different little tweaks on it, metalcraft or what have you. I'm really curious to see what the artifact mechanic is going to be once we go back and watch Karn detonate the nuke. Vedalken Archmage. 4 mana, you play an artifact, you draw a card. It's just that beautiful. I mean, there aren't a lot of cards like it. This may be the very first one. But now, 4 mana for a 0/2, but we're not paying. I mean, we're not playing this card because it's a 0/2. We're playing this to draw an obscene amount of cards. Let's face it. Disciple of the Vault. Now, I'm not going to try to go into Disciple of Vault combos here because there's so many. And here again, every time they print an artifact, this card gets better. There's so many. What was the deck at the time? It was Protean Hulk, and you went and got 4 of these and a bunch of artifacts that auto died, and you just lived the dream. While that's doable, it's not really 4 of them, but it's still a major player in artifact sacrifice decks. Now, Promise of Power, I kind of like. I mean, even if you don't entwine it, all of the actual modes, both modes are, I mean, you draw 5 cards and lose 5 life for 5 mana. I'm down for that all day long. You get a 5/5 flying with power and toughness equal number of cards in your hand. Okay. So, the idea by paying 9 is you're going to get at least a 5/5 demon out of the deal. Probably more because you're going to have a serious grip of cards, probably by design. Mass Hysteria. This is up there with Concordant Crossroads as the cheapest haste granter ever. Both of them grant haste to the entire team. Now, I've used this many times in goblins or things that I just have to get in there and I have to deal the damage with. Mass Hysteria. I'm always going to favor it probably over Fervor, because if that's what you're trying to do, you're probably not really worried about giving your opponents haste either. Seething Song. 3 for 5 at instant speed. It's a ritual. I mean, it's a red ritual. This one really caught people's eye because, 5's a lot. It's easy to go from, and while this was the first one that we saw, it was not the last one. They actually printed a whole bunch of these, and they just kept getting better, and you could work up the chain starting on turn 1, hence the whole Dragonstorm deck that we talked about. Trash for Treasure. This is... every copy of this I have is index. They're all used. Red Graveyard decks is probably one of the more popular colors, right behind blue. And, your stuff's going to die. Either whether you sack it, or it's going to get destroyed, or it gets discarded, or whatever. Trash for Treasure is... most of the time, it's a tutor. Not really a tutor, as it were, but it's a regrowth into play. Dalia Sunseeker. Now, this is a tricky card to play with. A 4-mana 3/2 first strike. You tap to destroy target artifact if its converted mana cost is equal to the amount of mana in your mana pool. Now, we don't use the term mana pool anymore, but for this purpose, we're going to. You can't just... Well, at any time, if you have 0 mana in your mana pool, obviously, and she's not sick, you can tap her to kill things that cost 0. Yeah, cool. However, anything above that, and it has to have exactly... if you're wanting to cap somebody's soul ring, you've got to have exactly 1 mana. If you're going after their whatever, you've got to have exactly that amount of mana in your pool. And then, like what I always did and how I've got Glissa built, is the ability to fluctuate that mana pool, how much mana is in it at will, so that I can pop a 4-drop and then I can turn around and pop a 7-drop if I need to. Hum of the Radix. This is, I don't know that I've ever seen anybody but me play this card. And as a matter of fact, right now, I don't even think I own one. I don't think there's one in any of these decks up on this wall. But it's reverse affinity. Yeah. Each artifact costs 1 more for each artifact its controller has. So this is just a good old-fashioned beating. It's worse than destroying them all. Molder Slug. Y'all just saw this from me in a deck. Or has it hit today, or did it hit yesterday or tomorrow? Anyway, it's a biggin. They just sacrifice an artifact. I don't care if it's indestructible. You're sacrificing it. Sylvans Quran is everybody's favorite land fetcher. It does put it into your hand and not play, but that's fine, because more than likely we're going to go get a land that matters. We're going to go get a piece of a combo land like a Tron land, or we're going to go get a Gaia's Cradle or the Sarah Sanctum, or a land that matters. I've used it many times to go get a strip mine, I'll be honest. Tooth and Nail, also known as Tooth. What is it? TANGG. 7 mana to cast, but let's face it, it's 9. It's 9 mana every time you've ever seen it cast. You're going to go get your 2-card creature combo that does something. One of my personal favorites is Mephidros Vampire and Triskelion. I mean, there are lots of others, but that's just one of my favorite ones. Blink Moth Urn. This card flies under the radar quite a bit. This gets more mana for you than you would think. If you are playing in a dedicated artifact-themed deck, it looks like you're spending 5 mana and slapping it out there and it has no effect on the board. You wait till your next turn. Because if you're playing enough artifacts where you're thinking about Blink Moth Urn, you're going to get your mana back probably the first turn. It is seriously that good. Bone Splitter. Equipment. This was the first set that they did equipment. Now, like everything else, when they do things the first time, they get it a little off sometimes. And equipment, this one here, 1 to cast and 1 to equip for a permanent +2 is a little too cheap. But this was the standard in which it was measured by. So, therefore, I think all of the equipment was just probably a little better than it should have been. I mean, this was common. And in most of our... I know the big flashy sword of somethings is what everybody wants in their equipment Voltron decks, or just the equipment like cat decks. But Bone Splitter's nothing to sneeze at. Bosch. Legendary Bosch. It has a red color identity. 8 mana, 6/7 trample, and of course 3 in a red to sacrifice an artifact. He picks it up and throws it. Okay, he flings it, or what have you, Chuck from the old days. There's many times I've just 12 mana Bosch somebody. Bosch somebody for 8, 4, throw Bosch at him. It happens. Now, he is a very popular commander in your red artifact decks. Really, really is. Chalice of the Void. Boy, this card. Whew, yeah. I don't have to tell you how good it is. It's really, really awesome. It's played in every format that it's legal in. Now, we don't see a lot of it in Commander simply because most of these copies get gobbled up for the other formats, but it's not bad. I mean, are you running one drops? If you're not running one drops at all in your entire deck, you might think about Chalice of the Void. Or you could really deep meta that thing, and if you've got some mana production and you're like, all the board wipes in my local meta cost 4. Yeah. Chrome Mox. Here again, this is another one that doesn't see a lot of EDH play. It is out there. Players do run it, but it is very popular in the other formats, so they kind of gobble them all up. And we don't really have the supply for EDH. But when it is present, it does matter. I mean, duplicate. This is, yeah. I'll admit it took me a while to latch on to the duplicate train. It comes into play, you exile a non-token creature from the game. As long as that card is imprinted on this, it has that card's power, toughness, and creature types. Now, it doesn't have its abilities. Now, if you'll notice, when duplicate dies, you don't get that joker back. It's gone. It's exiled. So this is a 6-mana removal spell in addition to a quasi-copy of it. Yeah. I guess they printed it as a 2/4 just in case shenanigans happen on the way down. But, and I'm sure that matters at some point in time. But Imperial Plate. Another equipment that, while this one may not be overpowering, for our format, it can be. In a serious card drawing deck, or if you know that you're going to have just a huge hand, maybe you've got that unlimited hand size and you just drew 30 cards, you just strap the plate onto the old commander and put him in the red zone and see what happens. Yeah, there's worse things you can do. Gilded Lotus. This was the first set that gave us Gilded Lotus, and I'll be honest with you, I just got all warm and fuzzy. I love this card. I may like this card more than the original Lotus, just for the reusability. 3 mana of any one color. It's ramp, it's color fixing, albeit one color at a time, but it's a beautiful card. Goblin Charbel. Okay. Walk with me here. You're playing red and blue in your commander deck. That's pretty much the only way to make this thing work that I can wrap my mind around. I'm sure there's others, but you're playing red and blue, and you get your Charbelcher out there, and it's got to be mana heavy, okay? Mana rocks, things like that. And you play your Mana Severance that allows you to remove any number of lands from the game, from your deck from the game. And then we've got to get a mountain to the bottom of the deck. Yeah, I know. It's huge, and you just, but you put them. Okay, you reveal the cards on the top of your library until you reveal a land card. So that's going to be the last card because we've engineered it that way. Maybe we made it a creature and tucked it on the bottom. I don't know exactly. I hadn't got that far. And then Goblin Charbel deals damage equal to the number of non-land cards revealed this way to target player, because that's what we're doing, right? We're trying to shoot a player. So we play a 99 card deck. We've got to have cards, we're looking and searching and drawing cards and whatever. So I don't know, 60. It probably won't be that low. Probably be more like 70 cards or 70 damage. So we're going to 70 somebody. And then if the revealed land was a mountain, it deals double. So we're going to 140 somebody. Okay, so we're going to 140 you. And then you put the revealed cards on the bottom of your library in any order. So I'm going to put them back. And I'm going to put the mountain back on bottom again so that I can do this again to the next player. And just keep on keeping on. Now, you might want to think about like Voltaic Keys or things like that to untap this, because once you 100 somebody's face, the rest of the players at the table are going to get a little edgy. Isocron Scepter. Yeah, Isocron Scepter. One of the good old fashioned. It's the on a stick. In that, I mean, logically, the first thing people go to is Counterspell. Um, uh, the instant tutors are, high up on my list anyway. Uh, there's so many cards and ways to untap and abuse, and it's cracks thumb. If you would flip a coin, instead flip 2 coins and ignore 1. Now, every time they print a card that says flip a coin, this thing shoots up just a little bit. Now, of course, in Unstable, we got cracks other thumb. I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of one goblin I ain't so lucky for. But it's a decent card. We just got Rakdos in Ravnica Allegiance, and it saw a little movement there. I am, against the advice of far better deck builders than I am running a Crack's Thumb in my Rakdos build. I haven't finished it yet. As soon as I finish it, y'all will see it. But I do like it because it does give you the option, a better chance at killing the board. Slightly better than 50%. Boots of Blinding Speed. Sorry, that was a Morrowind reference. Showing my age there. Lightning Greaves, 2 mana, the equip of haste and Shroud. Ooh. Now, it got eclipsed a little later on by another pair of boots, but this was from the beginning of our format. If you wanted to protect a creature, you give them boots. You give them boots. And that equip cost of 0, it just, you played your commander, moved to equip boots, and if nobody could do anything, it's there. It's hard to respond to that. You have to blow a removal spell on the Greaves and then deal with whatever was wearing it. Great card. Loxodon Warhammer. Now, this thing has been up and down. Started off here in Mirrodin as an uncommon. It eventually saw as a rare. For a while, it was a rare. And then recently, it's been back down to uncommon, which is good with me because it will forever be uncommon in my mind. +3/0 trample, and whenever this creature deals damage, gain that much life. I'm not sure. See, the wording there is life link is a little different than spirit link, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't studied enough, even though it's all kind of spirit linky to me because spirit link was the first one that I played with forever. But anyway, good commander card, great Voltron. Or even just incidental life gain, or a trample granter. Great equipment. Mesmeric Orb. Another card that allows us to, and at 2 mana, it's beautiful. Permanent because untapped, they mill a card. So this is another one of those cards, not a high investment here, it just costs 2 mana, that allows the mill player to commit 1 card to milling all players. Now, granted, you're part of it too. You do it as well. But that's probably not that big of a thing because your deck is probably rotating around, milling out the table. And you need all the advantages like this you can get because you don't want to just, hey, you target player, mill 7 cards. Because you're barely even treading water that way. You've got more than likely 3 opponents, and you're targeting 1. But cards like Mesmeric Orb do it to the whole table. So that's where you get your value from, is repeatable, multiple millings. Mindslaver. Oh, man, this Joker's amazing. Love the Mindslaver. Actually, Mindslaver was... Mark Rosewater came up with the idea way back in Tempest. And the rules team at the time couldn't make it work in the rules, so they were just kind of shelved the idea. They changed the card to a different card, and they finally got it through here. You control target player's next turn. Yeah, it's really good, and there's a lot of ways to recur an artifact from the graveyard and straight to play. It's sick, but you can totally Mindslaver lock someone. Now, in a multiplayer format, it's not, optimal, but if there is one deck at the table that you know you're going to have a problem with, you can lock that player out. Mirror Retriever, one of my favorite cards for like Hell's Caretaker, because when it's put into graveyard from play, return another artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. It's all kinds of fun shenanigans with Hell's Caretaker and Hell's Caretaker-like cards, and especially if one of those cards is like Junk Diver, and you have Mirror Retriever and Junk Diver and the Caretaker, and it's just so much fun. Maybe we're getting back a Mindslaver. I don't know. Nightmare Lash. I will pay that equip cost all day long. Equip creature gets +1/+1 for each swamp you control. 4 to cast and 3 life to equip, which is practically nothing in our format. Which we started 40. And anything that I can do to pay for something that's not mana just makes it that much quicker. So, and this game, this card just gets better as the game goes on. Now, I'm telling you what, I've never seen a foil one of these, but with that whip and that coloring, that's got to be beautiful. Stoned. 3 mana, 3/4/5. 3 to cast, 4 to get pass out a fate counter, and 5 to blow up everything that don't have a fate counter. Now, here's something. There's a commander from was it 13? The commander sets. Was it Skullbriar or whatever? He keeps counters as he moves from zone to zone. Now, this actually removes fate counters, so this may not be. But my thought with him was do all the counters that matter, like fate counters, divinity counters, because he'll keep those counters as he moves from zone to zone as long as he don't go to the hand or library. Yeah, you see where I'm going with that? You just keep all these counters. Of course, you're going to have to use different color dice for the different counters, and it's going to be tons of fun. I love it. Platinum Angel. This was like the first time we saw these words. I'll never forget the first time I saw it. Hold on. I can't lose, and my opponents can't win. Huh? Now, I'm sure you've all read the article, what was it, Pro Tour Hawaii years ago. It was kind of a comedy article, but it's kind of a neat little piece. The Platinum Angel's at the center of it. 7 mana, 4/4 flyer is, we will pay that for that line of text. We will, every time. Now, super vulnerable. It's an artifact. It's a creature. It's got flying. Green hates this for so many different reasons. But there have been times when it can buy you that couple of turns you need. Power Conduit. Now, charge counters really became a thing in Mirrodin block. And cards to tinker with charge counters really, really, I like it. We just got, M19. We got Magister Scepter again. 3 charge counters on it, and you take an extra turn. What? And this one is so versatile. You get the charge counter or a 1/1 counter if it's a creature. It's beautiful. Proteus Staff. Yeah, the last line of text is what gets me. Play this ability as a sorcery. However, I love Proteus Staffing. It's one of my favorite. It's kind of an actual hidden commander deck. The hidden commander is Sarah Avatar, and I'll have like Angelic Chorus where you gain life equal to the avatar when it comes into play. I say the avatar because it's the only creature we're going to have. I'm going to play like Kel'Joran Outpost, or I'm going to have lands that become creatures, and I'm going to, you know, have one of those, Proteus staff it to the bottom, just flip till I find my Sarah avatar. It comes into play. I gain life equal to its toughness, which its toughness is equal to my life, so I double, and then all of the gain life. It is crazy shenanigans. By the way, with a deck similar to that on Magic Online, I found the ceiling. I found, it's been years ago, so I don't quite remember, but there is a ceiling onto the amount of life that you can have in Magic Online. It just stops counting after a certain point. Yeah, it's up in the thousands though. Sculpting Steel. Now, we had copy artifact from, ABUR, but this is just, it's 3 colorless, and it's that artifact. It just copies the artifact as it is. So nice. I think we got it again. What was it? 10th edition. This was reprinted. It was not reprinted enough. I can tell you that. Another thing to note is Mirrodin is the first set. Well, Mirrodin in 8th edition were the first sets to be modern legal. So all of these cards, well, none of them will be in Modern Horizons. We know that, but they are also starting here is when you get into cards where the modern player base want them. And so if it is a good card in Commander and also a good card in the modern format, we're going to get hosed on the price because, supply and demand. That's just kind of how that works. But Sculpting Steel is a great card. Sad Robot. This is another invitational card, and I should have done my research. I am so sad the fact that I can't name the player. God, I feel bad. Has had reprints where they change the art, and I think almost all of them have been changed except for the one really, really terrible one that they're never going to reprint because nobody wants to see it again. But one by one, they've changed the art on all the invitational cards, and quite frankly, it saddens me. I have a lot of these that are the reprint, mainly because that's the one they're reprinting. That's the one they're putting in Commander sets and dual decks and what have you. But this is the original. Sword of Cauldron. So iconic, it's the set symbol. Mirrodin had 3 sets. Mirrodin, Darksteel, Fifth Dawn. And this is part of a cycle. We did not know it at the time. We just thought this was Sword of Cauldron, some person named Cauldron. But as it turns out, there's a sword, a shield, and a helmet of Cauldron. We'll get to those in the successive sets. But +5, 4 to cast, 4 to equip. But it gets +5/+5. If that's not enough, but wait, there's more. Whenever equipped creature deals damage to a creature, exile it. Now, I'll admit, I have slapped a Sword of Cauldron on a Plinker. I have done it. To exile, not kill, exile those jokers. Yeah, I've done it. I think I've done that more times than I have just equipping and beating with it. Because, +5/+5. Talismans. Now, the Talisman cycle was 5 cards. They were friendly colored only. I would love to see the enemy color. Speculation exists that when we go back to Mirrodin, we're going to see the enemy colors since, it's new Phyrexia now. But a lot of people don't really embrace the Talismans, but at 2 mana, that's the secret here. Yes, Signets are also 2 mana, but you got to pour 1 in to get 2 out, so you're only up 1 mana. It does, do some color fixing there. But the ability here for 2 mana to get +1, to your mana production and colored, don't care about the damage. We're in a 40 life format. Nobody cares. It's a great, great cycle of cards. I only picked this one because I think it was alphabetically it was first, maybe. Tower of Fortunes. There was, I think, 4 towers in Mirrodin. I picked this one. It was not alphabetical, but they did weird things, and they were 4 casting cost enchantments with 8 casting cost activations. Chose Tower of Fortunes because, quite frankly, I use it. I do. There are big-time artifact decks that don't have a problem generating that 8 mana, and to to just be able to draw 4 extra cards every single turn, you pull out ahead so fast that people will blow a removal spell on your Tower of Fortunes, leaving your mana rocks on the board. They will do it. Even leaving threats on the board. Seize the means productions and whatnot. World Slayer. My girl Avison says hi. Yeah, 5 to cast, 5 to equip. So, we've invested 10 mana. It's got to be good, right? Equipped creature deals combat damage to a player. Sad phase. Destroy all permanents other than this. Now, so you just got a sword. Hey, just like the art. Just a sword sticking in the ground. I don't know what ground because you ain't got no lands. But with Avison, original Avison, all your stuff is indestructible, and this uses the destroy word. So once there's been many, many games I have, cast Avison, cast World Slayer, move to equip World Slayer. Anybody got anything? You got anything? Yep, next game. Yeah, gotcha. Ancient Den. Now, there's a cycle of 5 of these. Each color had one. Ancient Den, Seed of Synod, they were just artifact lands. Yeah, they didn't come into play tapped. They just got you a mana of the appropriate color. It was the first time I can ever remember just boggling my mind, and it confused me, and then I didn't understand why it confused me. Because I'm like, it's so simple, but at the time, the fact that an artifact and a land could be the same card. We've been producing this effect for a while. We've been making things that aren't things. Hey, that's an enchantment now, or that's an artifact now. But for them to print artifact land on a card, we were like, huh. And then it broke standard. It was one of the many cards that did. We don't really care about standard. But, this cycle of lands is also really good. I run in like heavy artifact decks. I'll run like if I'm running blue black or blue red artifacts, whatever. I'll run each, the blue one and the red one, simply because there are times if somebody is running mass land destruction, if you do get lion screwed, there are times when I've been like, you know what? I'll just fabricate for an artifact land. I'll fabricate for some land. Cloud Post. Okay, everybody. Cloud Post is cheap. It's what, $0.10? All right. Check this out. If everybody in the format put a Cloud Post in their deck, it would be the best card in anybody's deck. Right? Think about it. If everybody had one, if all 4 players had one, they all tap for 4 mana. For 1 land. Yeah, see? Yeah, it's never gonna happen. Yeah, I know. But I like it. I don't include it as much as I probably should. Single color decks, I should probably throw it in there. Just for giggles. And I love that big old eye. Just can you imagine standing on the ground looking up and just seeing this giant eye? I didn't do it. Glimmer Void, probably one of the better 5-color lands in existence, because let's face it, we're probably going to have artifacts unless somebody just nukes them all. Love Glimmer Void. By the way, the foil is gorgeous with that artwork and the gleaming. Oh, it's so nice. And that's what we've got for Mirrodin. Wow, 39 minutes. Yeah. Mirrodin's a big set. Had a lot of good cards. 306 cards. And, just about all of them were. Mirrodin's kind of hard to come by these days. It being the starting point for Modern, the artifact theme. It's really good. Well, I do appreciate you watching. Y'all let me know what you think. And we will see y'all tomorrow.